Basically in Hinduism, they have like three gods, right? They have, they have multiple deities, but like the three main one is like Shiva, the destroyer of the worlds, Krishna,
Krishna,
the joy,
and
then Brahma is like the overall, right?
I think
I saw like interesting information like of this guy trying to interpret the gods not as like, you know, super powerful being, but like as kind of symbolic, more like from the symbolism of the gods themselves. So like Shiva is the one that meditates and is always like in stillness mode. He has this trishul, like a trident with three spheres, 3 points, and one is a rajas, like right action. One is stillness, no action, and one is purity of action, purity of intent. The same thing in, you know, in the Bible, whereas Jesus say in the Beatitudes, "Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God." And so like it points towards like purity of intent. Whenever like you do, you're taking action in the world, you make sure your intent are pure, because you can do the same action without the same intention, right? It's funny, I was in a few months ago in a situation, kind of a love story, and then there's this scenario where I kind of get hurt, you know?
Yeah.
And then my friend and I was supposed to, like, I was about to like do something different, you know. My old patterns was to like kind of block that person and forget about it, and like kind of like she hurt me and I wanted like to hurt her back by like blocking her and kind of like, and my friend told me like, whatever you do, first of all, he said, do you want to see that person again? And second of all, he said, whatever you do with a pure heart, you do with the right intention. If your intention is to hurt back, then whatever comes from that is not good action. But if your intention is different, and do you really want to see that person again? And I had to think about that, and I wanted to see her again, and so I decided to see her again. But just from that perspective of, you know, where is my heart sitting in that scenario? It needs to drive my decision.
Word for this.
We're always conflicting between like mind and heart, and you see this like also in Egyptian mythology, whereas like the final scene is like a waiting of the heart at time of death. I don't know if you've ever seen this.
No.
It's like there's this image of like they put the heart at time of death of like, let's say the pharaoh, and there's a feather on the other side, and the balance needs to be like stable, meant to symbolize that the heart is pure and there's no weight behind, you know, because we're always conflicting in between what you define between your mind or your heart or your conscious and unconscious. And so like part of your, let's say your ego wants to do something, wants to achieve survival and reproduction, and your soul or your heart, whatever you want to define, is seeking something else. It's trying to like push you in a different direction. And so you always have a conflict in your life of soul and ego try to like clash towards each other, right? So you have this identity. You have this identity of who you think you are and who you sit in this world as. For example, like if we go back to this situation with the girl, it's like, I'm too cool for school. Like I cannot like get hurt, so I need to hurt back in return, like to teach a lesson. But my soul is trying to, or my higher self wants to see her again, or like part of me wants to see her again, and another part of me is like, I have this identity that I'm trying to preserve. So they both at clash, and for me, like it created like a lot of like resistance. Actually, I felt a lot of like suffering between like what one part of me trying to do and another part.
Relations.
Yeah. And like another part of the trishul of this trident is like stillness, is like no action actually, because the mind is always like trying to like, is always spinning, and you're always like seeking to make action. In this world, you need to take action to achieve result, right? That's the first part of the equation, right action. And so you need to take action, but at the same time, taking a lot of action, you get caught in a loop Like he's always trying to like see, like make a lot of things. And you see, most successful people in this world, like they have the same time as us. They don't have the same resources, but they have, same time. Yet their productivity is much higher because like they've created like leverage points in some places in their life, and they can just like press and like without putting much effort, like it's easy to like tilt that lever.
So everything's
So I think that's what like the third part of the equation comes in, where the stillness is like you kind of take yourself back and you let some space so that you have a third party perspective of where to create those lever and where to apply. How would you define happiness?
Happiness.
How would you define it? Or what do you think happiness is?
It's a great question. For me, happiness is feeling joy of life. Feeling some state of joy and flow when your actions are going from some inner source. So this feeling when you're doing something and you lose time and you don't think a lot, you just do your thing and you just in complete flow of doing things. So I think happiness is when you can fulfill your life with such moments, when you move from one action to another action, but everything feels very natural to you. So you just naturally flow with life, and then life becomes this happy. Then life becomes happiness. You're like always open to new opportunities, to people, to everyone.
In Christianity, like one of the interpretation of the cross is that you get like the horizontal side is like the many is the breadth of life, like the many opportunities or many situation experiences, and the vertical is like the depth of life, how much presence do you get from each experience.
And you kind of, as I understand, you find the right spot where this two connects.
So it's not necessarily about like which experience you're living. Of course, like life, you get to experience many. I don't think I'm conflicted about this, like like people that meditate in caves or like that just spend their entire life with like kind of just meditating. They'll achieve like a great depth because they go deeper and deeper, but they kind of miss this side of many experiences.
But when you achieve some kind of real consciousness and some high states of life, it would be very nice if such people can share it with the world, because we still don't know lots of things, and we try to search for answers, search for inner knowledge, and if we have more people like this that can spread the word and explain us how to be happy, if we go again back to happiness. So like,
it's funny because like I think it's like all over, but like you don't see it, but it's all over. It's like you see many. It's not to say that religion are the only way, but like they're pointing towards something, right? And I'm curious to see or to understand like what do you think they're pointing at. But they try to, in my perspective, they try to point towards the dissolution of ego and to claim back to source and towards like happiness. I don't think like happiness is well defined in English, but in what we think happiness is. So if they kind of all point towards that, then you see when you go around like in the city or in the world, you see like they're so prevalent. You see church everywhere. You see whatever, mosque everywhere. I think the mainstream understanding is quite bullshit, but it in a way serves its purpose because it's holding this information together for those that want to understand it. It's holding it like available for that when you're ready, you start
think about this.
Yeah. Well, Vipassana meditation, like 10 days, like silence retreat meditation. I heard about this probably like 5, maybe 7 years ago. And actually like 5 years ago, my intention was to go and do one in Thailand, and it was during COVID. And I went to Thailand, but as I come to sign up, it's the COVID, so they shut down the whole thing. So I could not do it, and I forgot about it for another like five years.
All right.
Years until 5 years later, I'm like, okay, I need to do it this time. And so at this point, I'm in Japan, okay, and I'm with my friend, and I sign up. My first mission of this trip, or like my first purpose of this trip is I need to do that. That was the first thing I need to do, and so I sign up. And at this point, I'm in Fuji, Mount Fuji.
No.
Yeah, and yeah. So and then I sign up, and I sign up. It's quite late in the process, but I sign up last minute, and I think maybe I'm getting accepted. And so the next morning I receive the answer, I get accepted. But for some reason, my mind tricked me into believing it was the one in Kyoto. And I was closer to Tokyo at this point. So I read the email, I get accepted, and for some reason my mind is blocking the information that actually I'm closer to that. And so I look at the train, it's impossible to go, it's too long. And yeah, so like for some reason, and my mind's blocking that information that I can go. Then you can extrapolate of what is really blocking that information. There's this saying like you don't believe what you see what you believe. And so like there's this whole projection of the stream of reality that you're making before you have access to it, right? You understand? Like your ego is like, or whatever, like your ego or whatever you want to define it, is creating a filter before you access the information. And similarly in that situation is like, I know I received the information that I can go, but something is like not allowing me to go. And I think it's real. I distort I distort the email. It's fucking like, it's crazy. And so I end up not going. And a couple of weeks later, I have another opportunity. I sign up to do another one. I signed up to do one in Malaysia, and I'm still with my friend. I was supposed to do like a trip, and basically he goes to Thailand, and yeah. So I'm like conflicting between like following him to Thailand, or going to do Vipassana in Malaysia. And at this point, like the trip was kind of unfolding deeply inside. I didn't feel like fulfilled. Like I had a lot of nervous system. And so that's why I wanted to do this meditation. And yeah, so during my trip with my friend, I was not feeling good. And so that's why I wanted to do that. But like at the same time, I wanted to like do the trip with my friend. And so eventually like he ended up convincing me, or I convinced myself that I go to Thailand with him, and I'll delay it another time. Okay. I'll delay it another month, and I'll come back. It's always going to be there. And so I ended up going to Thailand, and I arrived to Thailand, and I was like, I go out for one night, like few hours, and I was like, fuck, I need to go. And so like I booked my ticket like few hours after arriving in Thailand to go. And so that's what I end up doing. But you see, like every time there's something coming up that's like pushing me away to like towards that direction of like seeking like spiritual knowledge, or like seeking spiritual path.
So did you reach the Vipassana?
So I end up doing the Vipassana meditation.
Nice.
And I do 10 days. And then after 10 days, I was like, I felt like there was some knowledge there, but I didn't feel like I learned that. I learned it like, I didn't feel like I got what I wanted. Like my nervous system was a bit more chill, but I felt I need to pursue that like another time. And so I was in Malaysia at that point, and then I signed up to do another one in Hong Kong, like a couple days later.
Okay.
And yeah, so like in Vipassana, which is based on Buddhist philosophy, like it's the teaching of Buddha meditation, basically. And so one of the interesting thing Buddha says is like there's 3 levels of knowledge. First, you get to hear about the truth or the words, or you get to hear. So whether it is like you get to read the Torah, or you get to read the Bible, or you get to hear about Hinduism.
Yeah, Bhagavad Gita, for example.
The Gita. Someone tells you about it. It's first level of knowledge. You hear about the truth. You hear there is some higher level. Then there's the second layer. And the second layer is like you go and read and you try to disprove it and you try to understand it as true, whether it's true or not, or if it's false. So you try to intellectualize it, you try to like disprove it logically. But this is another trap because you cannot achieve the truth by reading it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
In spirituality, they have this saying like the finger that points to the moon is not the moon. And so I think a lot of the religious establishment is stuck at that layer where they can debate about spiritual knowledge, but they have not achieved it within. And then their third layer is like you live the knowledge, like you become a saint in Christianity, or you become a Buddha in Buddhism, or you become a yogi in Hinduism. So I do a second one, another 10-day.
Oh,
You know,
after 2
the
days?
10-day, I do 2-3 days. I fly to Hong Kong, and then I start another 10-day.
So it was 3 days gap between
Yeah,
one. And
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It's pretty intense, I
Yeah.
can say.
Yes,
Because Vipassana, it's not an easy
you've done it.
experience. No, I didn't done
Okay.
Vipassana, but
Yeah.
I've been meditating for some time, and I mean, even 1 hour meditation is not always easy to just to sit still and don't move, don't think about other things.
It was like so painful. Like my body is like very stiff from like years of like sitting and going to gym. Basically like hyper stiff, and I need to do more stretching actually. But interesting is like, I was so stiff, and to sit down in like this position of like yoga, I had to like put about like 10 pillows like this just to sit like this, okay? And for like hours, it was like so brutally like painful. Like I had like shooting knives pain. Like I was like for hours. And so the first week was like hyper tough. And then the second week, I finally I learned to sit a little better, still like a lot of pain. But so I'm doing the second week. On the 8th day, I'm like, I feel more chill, okay? I feel more chill, but I feel like it's not working, it's not for me. I didn't feel anything special. I just felt a fucking lots of pain. And at some point I get tired, like you sleep basically 5 hours, 6 hours every night. And so like I'm sleeping, I'm in pain, and I'm like, I'm finishing this and that's it. And on the 9th day, like after one of the hour meditation, I'm like, for the first time in 19 days, basically my mind shut off. It shut off, and for like 2-3 hours after that, I was like at peace.
So you have like 2-3 hours of silence.
Yeah, it's like peaceful mind. No mind, no thoughts,
no triggers.
And then that was my experience.
Wow.
After 19 days.
It's interesting. But if we come back to this point that you shared, like how to reach how to reach the state, and for me it feels like, this story about Tokyo and Kyoto and when you just naturally miss the right destination of Vipassana. So all this thing is like God is kind of, it feels like it's not mind, it's like God who is like gives you some challenge, and he's like trying to, like, the God is trying to understand the purity of your intention. Do you really want to find this silence? And what you will do with this silence also is very important. Like, what is your intention after it? Because you can give, it's how in the Star Wars said, like, with big power becomes big responsibility. So if you're not ready for this understanding and this knowledge, then it's better not to give it to you. So you just need to, there's supposed to be some timing and way. So it's also, as you said, you feel this pain for 8 days. So it was like, it also feels like a challenge. You can quit any day, I guess. So like you can say like, okay, I'm feeling only pain. It takes me already 7 days. I sit in this position and I feel nothing. I should, quit. And this is not true, I cannot find the truth. It's just, I'm just leaving. But you push yourself, and then at some point you find and reach this state of silence.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is, I think, a very interesting story, and you can relate on this from your own experience, that there is some challenge that comes from mind, sometimes from life, but if your intention is really pure, then in the end you reach this, your goal, your state of the
Yeah,
mind.
it's tough. It's tough.
But you can
It's difficult. From what I made out of that story is that my ego doesn't like your ego doesn't want to
shut
like
down.
awaken because it means literally like the death of the ego.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
whatever, like how much conscious you are, it's a quite a tricky question because what's really driving your decision? Have you ever thought about this? How much of your decision you're actually taking? What would you say your percentage is? Let's say between conscious decision making versus unconscious decision making on a 100% scale. How would you
Wow.
say how would you think your that split is?
Oh wow. Well, it's a complicated question. I want to, I want to believe it's 50-50, but I'm not
50,
sure.
that would be
I think
enlightened
ego
level.
is still, yeah, I mean, I want to believe in this, but I
Yeah.
don't know the real numbers, but I still think that
I would personally
ego
say
is still there.
I would say for me is like maybe 99% unconscious. Maybe like if lucky like a percent conscious.
1% conscious,
Yeah. Because like
99% unconscious.
yeah,
All right.
like just relating back to that story, like who was taking the decision? You know what I mean? Like because I like just to go to the seminar like requires like basically me clicking like the buttons, but like to
To
like
actually go there.
you saw how I described like the challenges that came and came and came. Like for 5 years, I was like I didn't go. Like consciously, I wanted to go. For 5 years, I delayed that, and it goes out of my consciousness. And then after when I sign up, my mind is like blocking the idea that I can do it. It's like it's too far away. It's in Kyoto. It's too far. I cannot do it. Then the third time is like, oh, I'm finishing that trip with my friend. It's like you see, your ego is always trying to like delay until you die, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And you also have this, I mean, you always have some inspiration to delay things,
Yeah, there's always a good reason that comes up.
Exactly. So it's interesting.
You know, you see the a couple months ago there was the study, not a study, but like they dissected like a fruit fly brain, and they basically split it in like multiple like layers, and then they were able to like map out the neurons of the fruit flies on a virtual computer.
Oh, okay.
You've seen this?
No.
No? Okay. So yeah, so I'm explaining it. And so they map out on a computer, and after that they basically took the brain of the fly and put it in a simulation. And without any like adjustment, the fruit fly start behaving like a fucking fruit fly. You know, it started to hunt for food and stuff like that. And so does the fruit fly have consciousness? You could argue no. Let's just take the argument that it doesn't have, yet it still, you know, behave in certain way. So similarly, as human, you know, we might have consciousness, but like do the action that we take on a day-to-day level are actually conscious, or they're just like your biological impulse drives driving you.
It's too late, but
Have you seen the movie The Odyssey with Christopher Nolan?
no.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't read Odyssey. I started to read this,
Okay.
but I've read some reports about this book that it's actually, it also contains lots of this spiritual knowledge you can
Yeah.
find out in this book.
Yeah, I think most people will just see a historical account of events, but the meaning of the story is actually closer to a biblical story or a religious story. It's actually like Greek mythology. And so in the book, in the movie, Odysseus ends up just before coming back home, eating the lotus flower, where he forgets about his older life, and he's just like eating it, and it's making him in a sleep, in a kind of daze, where for 10 years, in the movie I think 7 years, where he basically forgets, he eats the flower, he forgets, and he doesn't go back home at this point. It's just like peaceful. And so like the lotus flower is meant to symbolize exactly this. It's like It's like a
start of-
cope. It's a cope. It's just like social media. You're on social media to distract you from the reality. It's a distraction from reality. That's basically hindering you to take the action you need to kind of awaken spiritually.
Yeah, and you have so many interests right now, and you don't know what is. I mean, you want to find what is really your true interest, but you just bombard it with different things, and you're like, I want to try this, this, and this, and then there is no time and no space even, which is more interesting. I think we should first think about creating a space inside us, which can give us this opportunity to silence and to to find a conscious way. I think it's a good analogy I can find is I read Krishnamurti. This is an Indian philosopher, and I really love his idea on space because he's saying that as humans we always want more. We have a flat, an apartment, we want a second apartment, then we have two apartments. Then once you have two apartments, you want a house. Then you have a house. Then you have a house. Then you want bigger house. And you always go bigger, in the outside world, but you never think about your inner world. You don't know how big is the space inside, and you never take this time to create it. So because you don't know, we think like we are just a body, and this is our hate, and everything is like there's organs inside and all these things. But can you actually try to find this inner space? Can you find this silence, as you say? Yeah, because you can find silence, I think, only in your inner space. So the bigger home, it don't give you silence, actually. It don't matter. You have 5 floors or 7 floors or 10 floors. You have only one body, so you can live actually only on the 1 floor. So it's no matter. But this inner space, it's more interesting. Can you actually see and try to find it? Is it really there? Or you already?
Well, Shiva as like the third eyes, and so like the 2 eyes see like the outer world. They see appearance, people, money, status, and the third eye, when it awaken, it see like through the illusion of that and the manipulation. And like the third eye is actually like the eye that looks inside.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it sees the inner world of like how you react. And to awaken is like to start realizing the inner world that goes within. And what's up, Lucas? And so and you have the same. Jesus said something quite similar. He says like the eyes is the lamp of the body. Like if your eyes are healthy, your whole body is full of light. Is like perception of basically how your internal world shape the perception of the outer world. And so if your inner perception is aligned or is not tinted by your ego, then you see like the outer world as something full of light, full of joy, and that's basically you see heaven.
Yeah, for sure. It's like you mirror what's inside you. There is lots of I think there is lots of wisdom in this world, in these words, that you actually mirror what you want to see, or what you're seeing is actually the projection of you. So you can say that some people are bad or they do some bad actions, but it's actually because you see these bad things, and they are living inside you also. So once you think a different way, you put the thing differently. So you want to see good things. You see good things inside you, then you see good things in the outside. So.
This actually like what's the teaching of the Vipassana 10-day course is that basically the Vipassana is like you sit for 10 days just observing sensation in your body. That's the exercise. And so you observe sensation, and then basically Buddhist theory, like Buddha says, there's there's reaction pattern like trapped in body, and basically when a situation comes, you get to relive that same situation as in the past. So for example, one of the example that's often given is like, let's say you're a kid and you get bitten by a dog.
Okay.
then you have like negative connotation towards dogs. And whenever like you see a dog that comes towards you, your body has kind of entrapped that story. Your mind and body have entrapped that story and like put it somewhere. And so when later on in your life there's a dog coming, you're reliving that same experience from the past. And maybe like you get scared of it just because in the past you were bitten. But that story now, or that situation now, is not the same at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like you can extrapolate this towards everything in your life, how you react to everything. And according to Buddhist or Buddha's theories, like you get input from reality, then your mind labels it and create a reaction pattern out of it. And so you spend your whole life in reaction upon reaction upon reaction upon reaction. Never really conscious. That's why I think like we're not really conscious, because we're always kind of reliving the same experience over and over again until we finally get some lesson on how to move differently, or like let go of what's like taking us from like the raw perception of reality.
Yeah, I can agree here. So I mean, and the experience was.
I think we have
feeling.
we have the same abilities, or even greater abilities, but
For sure, we have
because
great
we're
abilities.
because we're trapped in mind, we're unable to like access it.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I mean?
This is important.
It's like, because like a month ago, I went on a spiritual journey or of some kind, and what I would describe is like my heart chakra, whatever you want to call it, open. And then the very next day is like I get like a very outpouring of love, and the very next day I start seeing things I've never seen before, and I'm able to connect deeply with people. I'm able to see the pain of people, and there's just like this example of this guy that's sitting at the coffee, and I had spoken to him like maybe once 3 months ago, and then I saw him, and I realized is exactly like a situation. I go talk to him, and I'm like, I understand, like I feel your pain. I'm in the same situation, and I start like describing what he's living, and I start describing who was causing it, and he was like a bit freaked out because he never talked about that, and he never mentioned the name of the person, and he never mentioned anything. But like, I think because some patterns that was blocking those abilities got dissolved, was actually I was able to kind of like, I would not say channel, but I was able to access those higher abilities, and I was able to see like I was able to see definitely like the nervous system. Like right. I can like feel it, and I can feel it way deeper. And that was not like the only experience. Like during the whole day, I was able to like feel multiple people, like how they were reacting and how they were feeling very fast. Like just like I knew it.
Wow. Yeah, but this is 100%. I think 100% that we have this ability, but because we're trapped in our mind and ego, we do not develop them. We do not even think that it is possible.
Yeah.
Because we're not doing this every day. There's not a lot of people who do this every day. So you're like, but yeah, if we go deeper inside ourselves, we can for sure develop it. And I have this. Yeah, I remember the situation. I was in Himalayas, and there's a great place, Dharamshala. And there's a residency of Dalai Lama there also. So I have some, I don't know, fever or something. So I have some illness, and I go to the local hospital, and the process was completely different. Because when you go to a modern hospital, they take blood, they take some pressure analysis, and then they say, oh, this is wrong, so you should think about this. But when I came inside the cabinet of the doctor, and he actually said nothing, like, a couple of very simple questions. And then he take just put his hand on my hand, and he was like, concentrated and like it feels like he was meditating or something, like 2-3 minutes. And then he said like, okay, you came because you have some problem, like kind of a fever. And, he was just so on point. He was like, completely understand my situation. And I didn't tell him. He was like, just by...
Yeah.
touching me and like, maybe, I think he was hearing or, trying to scan me, but without this, without modern tools, more like, with his feelings. Yeah, and then I was like, wow, how is it possible? He really understands what's going on. Yeah, he gave me some idea how to cure myself. It takes like 5 days, and I was like completely fresh.
I read in this book yesterday that basically our conscious perception can only access basically a short sentence, so about 50 bits of information, but like the whole reality is like around like 11 million bits. So like the sheer like
11 million bits.
Yeah.
In reality, our
Like,
planet, or
I think it's like it
Or
was like
life.
in our field, let's say like around here, like
okay.
there's 11 million bits of information, visual, smell, everything, right? But like we can only perceive like 50 bits of that, like a short sentence of information. And so so your unconscious is always like blocking most of it, and you can only perceive this. And what it, based on your story, I feel it's like once you become more conscious, you get to perceive more, and you get to see what was blocked before by your unconscious. So you can see things that you didn't see before. So you can actually like understand.
Okay, I want to ask you a question because
Yes.
this conversation goes like you share more experience and stories, which is
Yeah.
actually great. So I would be the questioner today. So after this Vipassana experience and this 10 days of meditation, do you have this habit to meditate just by yourself?
So I think Vipassana was good. Was good to understand theory and show you basically the tool of Vipassana is that you're basically scanning your whole body and you're scanning for sensation, and through that you're maintaining equanimity, and as you maintain equanimity or like stillness of the mind, those old patterns like resurface and can let go. Right? And so in the Vipassana seminar they suggest you meditate for 2 hours per day, 1 hour in the beginning, 1 hour at night. And so 1 hour in the beginning is meant for like the dream, like the resurfacing of like those patterns during the dream, that you let them go as soon as you wake up, and then during the night because of all the accumulation during the day. However, as I do it, I don't see it's quite efficient because it's 2 hours. It's quite a lot, right? It's 2 hours per day.
2 hours is a lot.
Yeah. So if you're awakened for 14 hours, so that means like it's 2 hours out of 14. It's quite significant in terms of proportion. And so, yeah, I don't think it's the most optimal way, actually. Personally, I didn't feel like I get so much benefit from like the additional kind of hours. And so what I like to do is like I have a guided meditation where it's kind of like resurfacing stuff that are triggering, and I get to like relive like the trigger during the day of what happened. And so it's like about 15 minutes and I get to experience. And so I do this, and also I started like looking at the dream themselves. I don't know if you've ever heard of Carl Jung, psychologist.
Yes.
So he has like a dream analysis. And so it's very interesting actually. So I heard about this. So I had this dream like a month ago in Batam, Indonesia. And so I'm like, shit, like it must mean something. I forgot the dream, and then as I go to the breakfast, there's this woman, she starts speaking about dream analysis, and I was like, yeah, that's why it's pretty much what I was looking for. And so I did a bunch of research after that, and I got to understand a bit of the theory of the dream analysis. And so the dream analysis is that your unconscious and your conscious mind are kind of not going in the same direction. Okay? And the purpose of the dream analysis is to kind of realign your conscious mind and your unconscious mind.
Okay.
So let's say in your unconscious mind, okay, I'll fucking tell you mine. Like, so in my unconscious dream is like I get to fall in love with a prostitute,
Okay.
And I get to learn later on she's a prostitute, you know, and then
It was
so
your dream.
yeah. So my unconscious mind, what the fuck is this? Well, maybe someone is seeing this.
You like the story.
Alright, I thought we were.
Okay, you should go ahead for
so
sure.
I get to like. That's so funny. I'm not sure if there's anyone, but yeah. So I get to fall in love with a prostitute that I later learn she's a prostitute, and so my unconscious mind is telling me stuff that basically is not aligned with my conscious mind. So I'm beginning a relationship at that point, and I have like fear of being cheated on. And so my unconscious mind is kind of going in the direction like, yeah, leave this relationship, this is not good for you. And my conscious mind is like, I want to be part of that relationship. And so the dream is pointing out belief or fears or patterns that are meant to relive and let go of to align.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it shows you like what you should think about in real
Yeah.
life.
And so Carl Jung say like the idea is that once you brought it back to surface, is that you're surfacing back to the like. So when I woke up later on in the afternoon, I meant to like go back in the dream and start asking questions to the different characters of the dream about why they did this action. And so basically Carl Jung is saying that every character, every place in that dream is actually a creation of my subconscious. And so I am a creation of that of the subconscious. Like the action I take are actually a creation of my subconscious mind. The prostitute is a creation of my subconscious mind. The other people in that dream are a creation of my subconscious mind. And so as I go back in a meditative state, and I go to ask the different character, like, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And so there's new information that comes up to my conscious mind, and that are meant to like, oh shit, that's that way.
Maybe I think
Yeah.
it's supposed to be in your inner space.
Well, I think from how I understood the Vipassana is like just like we were discussing with the dog. It's like, let's say you live a traumatic experience. Your body, your mind-body connection or whatever, like is meant to make you survive over your life, right? And so depending on the severity or like of the emotional response that you add, is gonna be more like, it's gonna get like more learned, right? That experience is gonna be more learned, and it's gonna be trapped in you at a more higher level or a more intense level, so that whenever that situation or similar situation comes back, then you can you can remember and it saves you. So let's say you're in a tribe 50,000 years ago, you get to hear a tiger in the bush, and then it fucking kills your friend, and so you're gonna have like all this emotional like reactions, gonna be fucking brutal, so that next time you hear a tiger in the bush, you're like, okay, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's how your mind body works. So it kind of encapsulate that emotional response with like the sensory input, and it makes the belief in that, and so it kind of like bundle it together and like store it in your body. So you can like, this is a very kind of physical example, but like you can extrapolate this over multiple realms. Like can extrapolate this in basically your love life or like your finances. Like if you get to live an emotional story, your mind body is gonna trap it somewhere and store it as memory.
Yeah, bodies. But do you think body stores only bad emotions like fear, anger, or it's also stored the good one? Because sometimes you feel like you do something good. For example, you meditate, and you find out that meditation is so great for you, so I should meditate every day, as you said, like for 2 hours. But then tomorrow you wake up and you kind of forget about this.
Yeah.
But this, bad feeling about the dog, for example, it's always with you. So it's like every time you see a dog, you're kind of like, I'm afraid, I should run away or something.
Yeah. Actually, it's a very good point. So the answer is your mind is definitely storing negative emotion in a much higher level. Like
Maybe closer to...
It's gonna be...
The shelves are closer to you.
What?
The shelf is closer.
The shelf, yeah.
There's
Exactly.
a storage, like there's a storage and the shelves with negative emotions.
Exactly. Like your brain
right
is designed for to store negative story so that you don't relive them again, right?
Yeah.
So, but similarly, like the opposite story is actually as detrimental to it, because like let's say you take the same dog example. If you all your life is like dogs are happy, then you store this, and then let's say there's a very angry dog, and because you store that good emotion, you're not seeing real perception, and if it's really angry, it can bite you. So I think both. So you get attached to like the positive. You're still not seeing like you're not still seeing reality as it is. Right? So you have like Buddha says, basically, avoidance to pain and attachment to joy, like to good emotion or joy, is actually two sides of the same coin. It's the same coin. Being attached to good emotion, like, and I've lived this in the past, where actually like I got the best travel of my entire life in Thailand in 2019, right before COVID. And so I made out this great story of how Thailand is, and 5 years later when I go back, it's not the same. It's not the same at all. And I was like expecting this story to be the same, and it actually caused me like pain, suffering. So
I was thinking about even more simple example is like, we're all used to drink a lot, for example. So you get drunk with friends and you're like, hey, this is like the best experience in my life. It has so much happiness and joyful, but then you wake up in the morning and you think about, do this again and again. But if you, drink every day and you party with friends every day, then it won't lead you to the right thing.
Yeah.
So there is like, you can be trapped also with this kind of thing. And I also think relate to meditation, maybe it's an opportunity to find the right shelf, because as we discussed earlier, the shelf with the negative emotions are always closer. So if you want to find the better experience or the better emotion for something, you can meditate and just find the right piece that your conscious that your conscious is asking for at the moment.
It's like, it's interesting because there's the Gita here, Bhagavad Gita, and the story of the Gita is like this war where is Arjuna
and Krishna, they are the main characters of the Gita. So Krishna is the god who is telling he's telling Arjuna why he should fight on the battlefield. And Arjuna comes to Krishna and he said that I don't want to fight because on the other side there was his brothers. So, but his brothers, they take the other side and they want to fight Krishna and to fight Arjuna. And Krishna convinced Arjuna to fight with his brothers. And he's sharing with him the wisdom. So it's not about fighting; it's more about the life itself. How you should approach life, how you should think about decision making. And
what do you think is the most basically the larger teaching of the Gita?
The larger, the book is so deep that I think every time you will read it, you will find some new knowledge for this. But I think the thing is, Krishna is talking a lot is transcendental state and like transcendental knowledge, and mostly it's found inside you, and because Krishna is God, so this is like he's sharing this knowledge with Arjuna, so it feels like you can find the truth only in communication with God. So and all this truth is available, so all this wisdom is available. You should just look inside you and try to understand what is the intention of God for your life. Because we come here, then we left at some point, so there's supposed to be some intention of your life. Why are you here? This is a good question. Lots of people are asking this. Why I'm here? What is my intention? What I should do with my life? So I think, yeah, Gita can give you this idea of how we can approach life, how we can think about decisions and what is really true, what is really false. So yeah, I think this if I can, because it's very complicated to take.
There is
one
this interpretation, or this guy was saying basically is like, or multiple people, but like one of the main teaching in the Gita is that is meant to teach non-attachment to outcome, right? Because Arjuna is slaying the 1,000 people army by himself, but he's actually in the very flow of the moment, and he's not thinking about winning the war for the sake of like material position. It's just as a beautiful dance, he's just slaying the enemies.
Interesting. Yeah, we talked about this earlier, for example.
Yeah.
It was also interesting. We were like, discuss how to find this flow in life.
But that's what I when we were talking about the travels, or made me think about the Gita, because once you get attached to the outcome, and so let's say I was giving the example earlier of my Thailand first trip versus second trip, is like I get attached to the outcome on the second trip. So the first trip I have no outcome. Basically the situation is that I have 1 month and I end up my university in December. I finish my my last exam, I think December 1st, and after that I have 1 free month until I start basically my first job, or my first corporate job, whatever.
Okay.
And so like I had this 1 month, I'm like, this month needs to be like fucking amazing, because after that I'm starting work and I want to grind and I want to be this person. And I had like all this delusion about what my great career is going to be. And so I'm like, I set my intention at the beginning, like I need to have the most fun possible, because after that there's no more fun. And so I end up having the best trip. But the second time I go, I'm coming with all this baggage, with all this attachment to outcome. I'm like, this needs to be as nice as my first trip. And so I'm attached to the outcome, and from that, like nothing works. It's like when you start having expectation is when basically things don't work as they used, because you have this interpretation in your mind, you have this outcome you're trying to like match reality with, and there's a clash. You're expecting reality to be like that, but it's actually like that, and that creates friction.
Yeah, that's a good example. But the reality is still as it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
This is the interesting thing. This is also can be the example of meditation that we can have. So meditation, it's not it's not about sitting in silence for 2 hours, for example. But the outcome of meditation, as I feel, it's supposed to be some fresh mind when it's not attached to something. So yeah, if you go to Thailand, if it happens and you go again to Thailand, but you have no attachment, no expectations, then this would be it would be a new experience for you, and this is already beautiful. So the experience can be ugly or not ugly. There is different life situations, but if you see everything as something new that you learn from this, you explore something, then it's change. Yeah, it changed a lot. Even you can find the beauty in ugliness. It's also a way of life, a way of seeing the reality. For example, in Chinese philosophy, they say once you want to make everything beautiful, you make actually everything ugly, because there is always a duality in life. So everything cannot be beautiful, because if there is everything beautiful, then, if there is no ugliness, then there is no beauty.
Yeah.
I think I'll put it like this. Yes, it's very important to refresh your mind and try to be, you said very nice, not attached to something. Just everything, every day is a new day, every day is a new you even. So if you don't attach to your previous outcomes, so you will not fight this dog on the street, because this is a different dog. So it will not bite you.
I've been running I've been hosting a few public speaking sessions since 5 months ago. So like every week. By the way, it's like next week, this Thursday, I'm also doing one. If you want to come, I'll send you the link. But so like when I do the public speaking, it's similar type Toastmaster. Are you familiar?
Who?
Toastmaster.
Toastmaster?
It's like an event, it's public speaking. across the world. Anyway, so
okay.
basically, like it's impromptu. People come, they speak for 2-3 minutes on a subject, regardless of subject. And so, as soon as like they start thinking before, so what did I say last? Was it good enough? And as soon as they start thinking, what am I gonna say next? Like that, now they're frozen. They're like overthinking. Okay? And basically, the exercise is the exercise of doing the public speaking is letting go of both like the past and future. And if you can kind of like channel that energy of the now and let the flow of words speak through you, you can public speak and you can have like good communication. You can be loud, you can be commanding. But as soon as like you're in your mind and you're trying to control the outcome, now the whole flow is cut.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. It's very difficult. And so it kind of reminded me of the Gita. Is like when Arjuna is slaying the enemy, like he can slay because he's not in mind. He's just like having this conversation with Krishna and just slaying. And it's like when you're taking an action, if you think about the outcome, it's like taking mental bandwidth out of your brain. You know, it's taking mental capacity, mental capital that you don't allocate towards doing the task at end, right? Which is like the best kind of like material explanation that I can find. It's like, let's say this task require you, let's say you're in business or whatever, this task require you to like dedicate full attention, and then you spend, let's say, 50% worrying about if this is going to work, then you have like only 50% of capital to allocate to doing the task. And ironically, because you don't have full mental capital to allocate more full focus, you end up doing the task badly, and so you don't get the outcome that you want.
Yeah, it works. Which is the main trigger for us.
Yeah.
Always pushing us somewhere.
Yeah. But it's easy to be in stillness when you don't have like external output or like you're not living situation. But when you're faced with reality and interact with other people, that's when your kind of fear resurfaces. And you know, like the snake around like Shiva's neck. So the snake is meant to symbolize like fear, and that if you let fear take hold of you, it's kind of strangling you, right? And so the fear is also like a great source of energy, if you can recognize it as is. And so like in the public speaking, it's quite apparent. You can see it very well. So like when you go first, you know, you have your body reacting. It's like, what they're gonna think of me? Are they gonna react? And so you can reframe it in a way that basically your body is preparing for communication. And so it gives you more access to greater capacity, and your mind is starting to like run faster and faster, and it gives you like more abilities. And so if you with all like this cortisol running, or like all this kind of this change in your body coming up, all this like energy like surfacing, if you're like you get choked by the snake, then you get frozen.
Yeah.
But like if you can, you know, basically realize it for what it is and just let it like flow through you, then you get higher capacity.
Yeah, for sure.
So
you know
Tony Robbins. You know Tony Robbins. So he did he does seminar, and Stanford did like an experiment on him where they track his calories and meant like how much expenditure like he spent during seminar. So he's a big guy. I think he's 6'4", and like, you know, it's pretty big. How much calories do you think he consumes in a regular day?
Tony Robbins.
Yeah. So a 6'4" man, like man that does gym and is pretty active.
I don't know.
So
I'm not good with calories. Okay. I don't know how many I consume.
So probably like you consume, let's say 2,000.
2,000
around.
So, okay.
That would be your basic metabolic like rate.
It's interesting because he used to do. I mean, he's doing lots of intellectual work and sports and everything.
Yeah.
Something around 6,000.
Okay, maybe not. Like probably like around a normal day, he probably consume like 3,000, 3,000 to 4,000. Like that would be his normal range, right? So the brain consumes 25% of your caloric expenditure, right? So basically 25% of, let's make the math easy and push it to 4,000 calories. So 1,000 calories spent on like mental capacity on his normal day, okay?
Yes.
So when he does his events, he does a bit more physical activity and stuff like that. How much calorie do you think he consumes?
Events, you mean this public speaking?
Well, his seminars, he does like a
he's doing
seminar,
like for
right?
a couple of hours.
In person.
Okay. I
How
think
much
it
do
should
you
be
think?
double down something.
Double would be crazy.
Yeah, too much?
That's possible. It's 12 hours. So let's say he doubles his caloric expenditure. So from 4,000 to 8,000, basically. That's what.
No. I mean double the brain. So if brain consumes 25%, and
So
in seminar, so it's
okay,
one extra salt.
Okay, so basically he goes from 4 to 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so they start tracking and stuff. He consumed 11,300 calories.
11,000.
Yeah. 1,100, like you understand, like 10,000, so 11,000. So let's say like 12,000. Let's push it a little bit. So let's say you consume 12,000. So he goes from 4 to 12. So it's a 3x fold. Okay.
Damn.
A 3x fold. So let's say because he does a bit of trampoline and stuff like that. So let's say in physical activities he hypes it up a little more. Okay. So let's say his basic metabolic rate is 3,000 for physical body and 1,000 for mental capacity. That's a regular day. Okay. So if we extrapolate his seminar, so let's say let's double his physical span. Okay. So he goes from 3,000 to 6,000. So now we're at 7,000 total.
All right.
Which is remaining 12 minus 7, so 5,000 of caloric expenditure that goes dedicated to his brain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so 5,000. So his brain goes from 1,000
to 6
to 6,000, exactly. So it's like a six-fold increase. It's fucking crazy. It's a six-fold increase in mental bandwidth that's going on.
Wow. Do you think we increased today our
brain
capacity by talking?
To some level, I can feel it. But when I do the public speaking, it's if I kind of let go and kind of let that energy come. After 2 hours, I feel exhausted. I feel like my brain is it's like a computer that overrun, and then after that I'm just want to chill, you know? Yeah. But it's so I think it's kind of similar to the story in the Gita. It's the spiritual knowledge is trying to show here is that, if you let go of this, you can channel a higher power, or your brain can go in that higher dimension and start fucking go hyper mode.
Yeah, I think 99% that's true.
Yeah.
No, it should be 100%.
What's the 1% that's not?
1%.
And it's fine.
The state of mind, we will have more conscious.
Well, it's always in the now. That's the only reality there is.
So we are now in this state.
Well, I don't know about you. I am. I can feel my mind is running faster right now, for sure. For sure.
I can't say so, but at the same time, I feel this, stillness. So I can't say that. I don't have lots of topics to discuss. I'm kind of just, talk and feel what is the next word. So there's no preparation.
Yeah, exactly.
Just flow. It's a nice thing. Yeah, and it was in the early talk. So when we started the conversation, I was thinking, hey, will we discuss this topic or we will discuss this topic? And then I want to say this and relate on this. But now I'm more just...
it's coming up
let it go.
naturally.
All right. It was a great conversation.
Yeah.